guys, it's Mike.
Hey, Sam.
And we're back with another video, our second video, showcasing the Henry U.S. Survival Rifle 22 caliber, 22 long rifle. And this is actually Sam's gun, so I'm going to let him talk about it a little bit more just to give you a better overview of it. I've owned one of them before, but that's his, so I'll give him the honor.
Yeah, like you said, it's a Henry U.S. Survival Rifle. It is specifically designed for survival use. It was originally made by
Eugene Stoner.
by Eugene Stoner back in 1959.
Well, it was designed by Eugene Stoner and then made by Armalite in 1959 for the U.S. Air Force.
There you go.
Yeah.
And we can get into a little bit more of the uses later on about the actual uses. I mean, like I said, like he said, it's made for the Air Force for survival purposes. I got this gun a couple years back. I just wanted a simple little 22 that I could shove in a backpack and then take out camp with me. And if I got hungry, pull it out, shoot some small game if I really needed to.
And what did you say you paid for it?
I got this for about $250.
Right around
so, yeah, I checked.
MSRPs I think is probably closer to $3 for it, but you can always find them. I mean, guns never really sell for MSRP unless they're a Kel-Tec, and they're hard to find. They sell for more than that, but anyway.
It's a really neat rifle, though. It's like I said, it's a 22 caliber, so really small, cheap ammunition. Kind of get it in bulk. But the thing that's neat about this rifle is right now, for those of you who have never seen this before, which a lot of you probably have, but for those of you who haven't, this is just a stock at first sight. There's nothing to it. But the thing is, it all collapses down into the butt itself. So the way you assemble the rifle is you take it and you just simply pull off the very back of the gun. You just grab it from the bottom and rip it right off. And if you look in there, it's all the components of the gun. The barrel, the receiver, 2 extra magazines, slots right there, everything.
And the inside of the stock is actually filled with foam too, so the stock
float.
does float. It's not watertight, so yeah, your gun is going to get wet on the inside, but when we cover features, we'll talk about what the gun is coated with to keep it from rusting on the outside at least.
So I'm going to go ahead and assemble it, and it's really simple to assemble. So I'm going to take out the barrel, and I've already taken out the receiver. This right here is the receiver to the gun, the actual main components. They're very small, it's pretty lightweight, and you simply slide it in right there, and in the bottom of the grip there's a screw. It's a plastic head on it, but the screw itself, the threads are metal, and it threads right into the bottom of the receiver. It's just real simple. You just screw it on until it gets real tight.
You don't want to do it too tight because these things, when you keep shooting them for some reason, they get really tight, and we had to use my Leatherman to get it undone when we brought it out. So.
However, I mean, it's usually not that hard. It took just a quick little turn, but you do want to make sure it's not wobbling, obviously, when you get it in there. So that is seated in there, ready to go. Take the barrel right here, nice short little barrel, and you're just going to slide it on the front. You want to line up, there is a notch right there, and it goes into this little indent right there in the threads. You slide it in until it pushes in, and then you take this piece right here. Yeah, it does have metal threading on the inside and on the outside right here. And you just simply screw it on until it's tight. And your rifle is assembled right there. So, I mean, it is quick, it's fast, and it is extremely lightweight and extremely versatile.
We'll do the features on it here now if you want to.
Yeah.
Well, we can kind of share the feature part about this. The barrel is, obviously it's a steel barrel. I mean, you can't really have a barrel any other way. It's got to be harder than the projectile you're shooting. But the actual outside of the barrel does have a plastic covering over it, so that, if it gets wet, it's not going to rust on you. The receiver is metal. We couldn't figure out whether it was aluminum or steel. If it's 22, it could be aluminum because 1022s have aluminum receivers, so it would make sense. But it does have a Teflon coating on the outside of the gun, so if it gets wet, it can't rust. Teflon is pretty it's corrosion resistance, basically.
No matter what metal it is, it's extremely lightweight. Let's go with that.
Yeah, the gun probably weighs 3.5 pounds, maybe 4 pounds at the tops. It's a very lightweight gun. The gun does have a 3/8 Weaver rail on it, so it will accept any kind of standard 22 rimfire scope mounts. But it kind of defeats the purpose when you're talking about putting it back into stock. Obviously, with your receiver, with your scopes or anything on there, it will not go back into the butt stock, so you will only have the rifle as it sits here. Anything else you want to add to that?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, just a couple things. For instance, you do have a windage adjustable front sight. It does move left and right. It is plastic, But it's a durable plastic, and I've never had any problems with it or anything like that. And this also is not any kind of competition rifle. You're not looking to be dead on accurate at perfect by any means, but you can adjust for windage right there. And if you look back here, it has a peep sight type sight. Just there's a screw right here, and you can adjust for elevation up and down with that little slice of metal right there. And so, like I said, it's not it's not going to be anything like if you mount a scope on there, but it is very reliable, and I've never had an issue with it to this day.
Touching back on the reliability part about it too, this also kind of gets back in the history of the gun. These guns were originally, like we were saying earlier, were made by Armalite, designed by Eugene Stoner. The gun switched manufacturers plenty of different times ever since it was made by Armalite. I think who had it before Henry was Charter Arms, and Charter Arms really didn't make these guns very well. They broke. They were made of really cheap material. They weren't very accurate. And the Charter Arms AR-7s really gave this gun a bad representation in the gun industry. When Henry took over the reins of the manufacturer, they really designed the gun properly. You know, the old, what Henry did on the magazines is actually add this little steel spring here to keep the bullet seated in the proper location. That was one of the problems that the Charter Arms never had. And I don't even think the original design had that, but Henry just kind of updated it to make it a little bit more suitable for the modern day shooter. The gun overall itself is just a lot better design than the way that it used to be. Yeah. Charter Arms really kind of screwed this gun over, but Henry took it over and definitely made it into a much better design.
Yeah, they definitely brought back the name. They put Henry's name on it, and people started buying it.
And Henry was actually the first. They were the manufacturer who put the scope mount on there. The original AR-7s did not have that. And also, just touching back one more spot about the history of this rifle, these guns actually started out as bolt-action single-shot rifles that were chambered in a .22 Hornet. That's how they originally started out, and then they were kind of tweaked and designed later on down the road for the .22 long rifle, semi-automatic, fed from an 8-round single-stack magazine.
Yeah. As he mentions the magazines, it does come with 2 magazines that they you have 2 slots that they can slide into in the butt right here. I'll actually pull it off and show you real fast. It's real simple. They just store right in there, and you can keep 1 magazine in the receiver when you put it in. So I have 3 magazines total to this gun, and they are I believe 8-round magazines. As you can see, there's very simple mag release on it, very intuitive, very anyone could learn, easy to use, definitely. And you simply, it's a little lever right here in the front of the trigger guard. If you're with your finger in the trigger guard, you simply push forward, the mag falls right out of the gun. These are stamped steel magazines, very simple. Like
they're cheap, but they work.
Yeah, never had an issue with them. Just slides right back up in there, and you're good to go. I mean, also the charging handle is something that I thought was neat when I first got it. It actually, you pull it out like so to charge the weapon, but it slides right back in. You just push it back into the receiver when you're storing it, or well, you just want to get it out of the way. The safety is right here, simple, just like that. Back is safe, forward's fire, very good to go.
Yeah, the gun's just overall pretty fun to handle, very easy to shoulder, easy to point, lightweight. You're not going to get tired holding it. The only thing that I can say honestly negative about the gun is you don't want to take the internals of the receiver, the trigger, the safety, all that stuff. You don't want to take that apart. These are very tricky to get back together. If you know what you're doing and you think you can do it, go right on ahead, but just from what I've seen with these things, taking the internals apart is just kind of a hassle, and getting them back together can be really tricky. Well, let's go ahead and take this thing out over to the targets, and we'll do some shooting with it, and we'll tell you how it performs. We'll be back soon.
Hey guys, alright, so we're going to shoot this real fast, but before we shoot, I just wanted to talk about the ear protection I'm using today. It is Safariland Ear Impulse, the earplugs that they have. They are actually very nice. I gotta say, I did not expect them to work as well as they do. I kind of thought they were kind of a gimmick, but I ordered them just to see, and I did have a 40% off, so I figured I got better spend it on something cheap, and they actually work great. The way they work, at normal hearing levels, if you put them in your ear and you have ambient noise, say you're at a rock concert, it will reduce that noise by about 13 decibels. But as soon as, say, you're shooting, when you fire that gun, that's an impulse noise, and it blocks out those impulse noises, or blocks out a lot of it. It'll reduce that by almost 33 decibels. So they're actually rated for a pretty high decibel rating. And they're very simple, very comfortable. On a hot day like this, you might not be able to see, but I'm sweating a lot, so I don't like wearing earmuffs. So you just stick them right in your ear just like this, and you're good to go. Real comfortable and definitely protect your ears. So we're going to shoot this. Fully loaded magazine, 22 ammunition, 8 rounds in here. Slide it right up in there, give it a little tap. And I like to pull this out, pull the charging handle back, let it go, and you've got one seated. Safety is right here on the right side. Push that forward and you're good to go.
Alright guys, well definitely shot like a champ. We didn't shoot it a whole lot, obviously for video sake purposes, but definitely we shot it a lot more, and it functioned incredibly well and didn't have any issues out of it. Definitely, if you feel like getting one of these, go pick one up. They definitely work very, very well, and you're not going to get a bad deal on them. It's definitely a good bargain.
Great gun to just to have. Kind of like if you see our other video of the Ruger 1022 takedown, almost a similar idea. A good thing to take backpacking, keep in the back of your truck, in your home, in a small area.
Camp gun.
Yeah, exactly. It's a perfect little gun. Like he said, very reliable. I've never had any problems with it. It's lightweight. You can tell the material is meant to be lightweight, but it's durable. Nice hard plastic stock. Plastic coating on the barrel keeps it from scratching and rusting.
Teflon on the metal receiver.
Exactly. All around, great gun. Would recommend.
Well, guys, that's the Henry's U.S. Survival 22 long rifle. Go pick one of these babies up. You definitely won't be unhappy with it. Until next time, we'll see you again.